Hello and welcome to That Channel for Dads. I'm Adam and I'm really excited to get us started on our first real topic of the channel. We're going to hit what I think is kind of a bigger one, mental health. I think it's something that a lot of adults, but especially men, don't talk about a whole lot. And honestly, I think it comes from our childhood. Like when things got tough for us when we were little, what did they tell us to do? Like man up, shake it off, rub a little dirt on it, or like real men don't cry. And that works great when you like fall off your bike or don't make the team or something like that. But when you're carrying real world stress, it just doesn't cut it. We need to figure out how to deal with it without letting it affect our personal wellness or our families. Now, a person doesn't have to have a diagnosis of a mental health issue or even be at the level of actually have one to have it start to affect how you go about your day or how you interact with those around you. And honestly, just as importantly, who wants to go about our day with like worry, frustration, anger, resentment, or any of those other emotions in that domain? Those feelings can build up so quickly, and before we know it, we're irritable, we're short with people, we're avoiding people, we're hiding on our phones, or we're hiding in our garage, possibly spending more time at work, or alternatively, maybe we're taking a lot more sick days from work. Or just in general, feeling like a failure in a lot of areas of our life. As dads, we often feel like we have to be like the rock of the family, but we all know that even rocks crack under pressure. Again, not coming from a place of expertise or education on a topic, but rather just sharing what I've read and what I've viewed, even right here on YouTube. I have 3 ideas that I'd like to use to kick off our conversation. Seeing myself more as a facilitator of our conversations as opposed to like an expert. I'll be looking at what you have to offer in the comments as well, in terms of things that we can do to help each other in these situations. For most of us, these will just be reminders of things we know we really should be doing, and maybe it'll help give yourself permission to actually do them, knowing that others are in the same boat. That makes me think of fishing, which ironically would be a really great thing to do if we're feeling a little stressed. Anyway, suggestion number 1, talk to somebody. If you're lucky enough to have a partner in life, like a best friend or a wife, and for some of us that's the same person, a sibling, a sympathetic coworker, or perhaps a therapist, those can all work really well. But honestly, it's my hope that this community could be that sounding board for you. It's actually why the channel exists. I want us all to have the support that we need right here with real dads. Sometimes just sharing your stress out loud is just enough to relieve it a little bit. I know when I state my feelings, thoughts, and emotions out loud, I actually feel a level of relief right on the spot. And I mean, I think it's because when I do that, I've actually identified the stressor and I've given myself a focus to tell myself what I'm up against. The person I'm sharing with doesn't even have to have a solution to be helpful. Just being present is often enough. But just think about it, like how cool is it when somebody does bring something to the table, especially if they like know you well or just your situation well. I can really give a person the confidence that it's something that they can overcome, that you can get through it in a really positive way. It normalizes the feelings, knowing that like you're not the only one that's going through it. For me, I'm fortunate enough to have my wife, and she's a great sounding board. And oftentimes, the problem that I'm dealing with is something that her and I actually do need to tackle together. It might have to do with parenting or just our relationship in general. And so it works really well for us to be able to talk like that. I do also have my sister in the rare event that maybe I'm dealing with something that just a little bit more sensitivity is needed to like have before I actually take it to my wife. She can give me sometimes the inner workings of the female mind, and I can be maybe a little more sensitive to how I bring a tougher topic to my wife. But I'd love to hear in the comments like who you might go to and how they can support you, and maybe there's some ideas out there that would be really clear, you'd think, but we're just not seeing them yet. Thought number 2 for the day is to just give yourself a little grace. Everybody has like that bad moment or that bad day. Sometimes it's a bad week. And I think we need to realize that that's pretty normal. If you've flown completely off the handle and dug yourself a big hole, like that's another story altogether and probably another video for us someday. But I've yet to meet anybody who actually has it going for them all the time. They make all the right decisions and they're just 100% on all the time. And honestly, I think that's probably not normal and might be an issue all by itself. But I think a person could talk a long time about this, but just something that seems like we really need to do a better job of is giving ourselves the grace that we deserve in situations. I know that in our hearts as dads, we're doing the best we can every day, and sometimes it's not quite enough, but or so it seems. And so just do a little better job of giving yourself some grace. You're doing this. I know you got this. The third thought for ways that we could minimize the effects of stress in our day is to make sure that we do something for us every week. Not just something for the kids, but really, truly for you. If that's doing something specific with the kids that you've been trying to prioritize but just can't get done each week, then yeah, by all means do that. But honestly, figuring out that thing that you need to do for your own sake is huge. I liken that to when the stewardess people come up in front of the plane and they tell us that we need to put our own oxygen masks on before we help other people. And that makes sense, because if we don't put on the oxygen mask, we're going to run out of oxygen and we're not going to be able to help people. And alternatively, people are going to be helping us. And if we'd have just put on our own oxygen masks, we could have been helping the others instead of, needing the help. So it's kind of a double whammy when we don't fuel ourselves and make ourselves the best version of ourselves. For me, this is where I seek out some one-on-one time with my wife, and it doesn't have to be this really long thing or this really planned out thing. Honestly, refueling with her is folding clothes or just sitting down and watching a little bit of HGTV together and doing some dream building with no distractions, just us. Historically, running was sort of that thing for me. I could go for a long run and come back feeling pretty reinvigorated and ready to take on the world, but as well as I do, that once you get kids and put them in the mix, something that might take that extra time like that is really hard to find the time for. Finding an activity that's a little more time efficient is probably a really important thing for us to do. I mean, our kids have activities, they really need our attention at times, and heck, sometimes need to eat too. So those are things that we need to consider as we start to divvy up our day. We don't want our de-stressing time or our refueling time to add substantially to the stress load, because there are things that we do need to get to, and our refuelers definitely should be exactly that, refueling. I look forward to hearing some of the ideas of what you do for your own self, or maybe what you would do for your own self if you were to sit down and brainstorm it. And yeah, maybe some of those ideas would be great for the rest of us. I want to go back and touch on refueling again. It's a really important concept, and there was a couple more things I wanted to mention. Refueling is so important because it gives us that energy and that drive to be present and to respond to situations so much more like our real selves. And I use that phrase, real self, in a lot of areas of my life. I teach, and I'm a dad, and I'm a son, and I know that when I'm my real self and I respond to things, I just really feel better about the outcomes, because I know that the answer that I would have given in my best form came out. The time we spend refueling is an investment in our family, and not doing this causes us to respond poorly and completely. And when we do that, then we end up spending time and energy going back and trying to get back to that real self answer. And sometimes that real self answer is kind of minimized by that first answer that we gave. I know I wish I could always respond perfectly. Again, we talked about that in the very first segment, how we just can't do that. We need to just give ourselves permission to strike out once in a while. If you think about the Major League Baseball hitters out there, batting 300 means they failed 7 out of 10 times. And they're still seen as winners. I do hope that with my dad's stuff, I'm batting better than 300, but it just shows that 100% is not always the definition of success. At the end of the day, I do try to make some peace with my shortcomings and realize that I've given my kids what I have for that day. And sometimes, honestly, what seemed like a failure in that day maybe ended up being a learning moment for them or for me or for both of us. And we might even recognize that until later in life. But I think sometimes those what seem to be failures can actually be successes, especially if we're able to spin those the right way and maybe even point them out when we see them later in life. I'm rambling now, but keep your heads up. That's just by being here shows that your heart's in the right place. Anyway, talk to somebody, give yourself some grace, find a way to refuel. If you can relate to any of this, just maybe drop a "I hear you" in the comments, and you don't have to add your story to it. You by all means can. I'd love to hear it and be able to respond and relate back to you as well. I hope this can help you in some way, maybe just through reflection itself. I know that, again, the whole purpose of this channel is to help us all support each other, and I mean, that goes my direction as well. I hope that you guys can feed me full of super cool things that you're doing and some of your thoughts that maybe will inspire me to try new things myself. Anyways, keep at it, dads. We got this.